I mean, when we talk about coaching, I mean, I was lucky enough, had the privilege to be the son of a coach, and coach who's worked in some of, I would say, the lesser privileged environments where. I'll give you an
Yes,
example.
the great Otto Pfister.
He had to work.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was coaching Zamalek in Egypt, he still thinks very positively of that experience because compared to some of the other places he's been, the league is professional. It is professional. Yes, it's not. It doesn't have the. It's not. It's not a top European league, but the Northern African countries have, the league plays regularly. There's a calendar. There is the teams have got youth academies.
Mm-hmm.
You go to and when my dad was coaching in Ghana and I was playing the second division in Ghana. Second division, can you believe it? The amount of games that we started so late that we could not play the second half because the sun had went down, and the game was so delayed, and of course you didn't have floodlights. That's second division. That's this would not happen in Egypt. It would not happen in Algeria. It would not happen in Morocco, let alone Tunisia. It wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen there. And so my father, as a coach, in many of these countries and clubs that he was coaching, he was not only the head coach, he was also the physical trainer. He was also the goalkeeper coach. He had to take care of the equipment. When he was coaching, I'm not going to mention the country, but we had the footballs and the jerseys and the boots of the players in our house. My mom would wash these things for the team, and my dad the next day would pack it in the car and go to practice. National team. Can you believe this? Then you go to Bayern Munich. The only thing of Jogi Löw from Germany, the only thing he has to worry about is the tactics, the football he wants to play. The rest is all organized.
So, Mike, are you saying it's a function of also organization?
Absolutely.
Just understanding how the footballing department should work.
And it's professionalism. Each task, Khalid knows it very well. He's a team manager. That's a professional position. In many countries, the team manager is a joke because the guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's the friend of someone for the federation, so we'll make him a team manager. But he has no clue. We've had the amount of times where I have to say it right now. Cameroon was going when my dad was coaching Cameroon. We went to play a World Cup qualifier in Cape Verde Islands. When we were boarding the plane, 2 players could not board because they did not have a visa. Does the coach have to worry about that too? And then, of course, we still win in Cape Verde. But if 2 of your key players are not there, that messes up your system. And those are problems that Jogi Löw just does not have. You know what I mean? And that trickle, and that's the top. That's the top. So imagine what goes on at the youth level. Imagine what goes on in club football. That is just. It's. I don't know, man. It's anything but professional football, and and you have to treat. And I think Khalid had an excellent point earlier. You're creating a football player. It's a career. It's a profession. It's a trade. It's not just. For someone who doesn't care about football, they think football is just a hobby, whatever. But no, it's a trade. Just like if you become an investment banker or you try to do something, it's a trade. You train for it, and the more professional your environment, the better you're going to perform. And just to make a link to what we mentioned earlier, I really think that countries that do relatively well, it's also because there's an environment where clubs can be clubs and football system can be professional. Give you an example. You don't need someone to bring in the money into a club. No, but you need professional people in the club who can then tap into a market to get sponsorships, to then bring that into the football system. And then the right people in that club are going to use that money that the marketing guy got, the professional marketing guy was able to get. Yeah. And then you have the funds. It's not because one rich guy is the president of the club. No, it's because you have professionals in the different departments of the game, off the field. So I think the organizational element of it is absolutely critical, and this is what is missing in I think a lot of our a lot of in the developing countries, I would say. And yes, the coaching is very important, but the coach should also be able to concentrate on football and not worry about pumping the balls. Or, I mean, I have to say it again. Togo World Cup 2006. We had, my dad was coaching Togo. We had a friendly game. We drove from the camp to play against a regional selection in Germany, a third division regional selection. A good training game, right? We get there. They realized they did not have any shorts and socks. The equipment manager just forgot that. So the game was just delayed. People wondering what was happening. My dad called me. Hey, you cannot believe what happened. We have no shorts. So the guy had to drive back to the camp, get the shorts, get the socks, and then come back. So we lost 2 hours in a critical, 4 or 5 days before the kickoff of the World Cup. That's the reality when you don't have professional structures, and the coach has to worry about that. And then you don't perform on the pitch, and it's the coach's fault. Anyway, I could go on and on, but just
I know you could go on a rant, but Mike, here's the thing, though. So it's something as simple as organizational management and creating a structure.
It will get you a long way.
It's just okay. You hire the right people. Okay, you want to become equipment manager. What's your background? Oh, I did X, Y, and Z. Okay, you have the skills necessary. Boom, you're hired. He does a great job. Now the coach doesn't have to worry about the equipment, right? You want to have a physio coach or a strength and conditioning coach. Same thing, right? So you're saying from what you've observed in a lot of these developing countries, and you worked with FIFA, so you went to a lot of countries and you were able to see their structures and see exactly what a lot of it has to do with that foundational aspect, not necessarily pumping 90 million euros into. I mean, it does help, but of course it has to do with, of course it helps, but it has to do with the foundational. Okay, let's just have a good structure, the basics of running a football club. Is that right, or what was your experience?
I'll give you an example. India, out of all places. There you have a huge opportunity now. You had when COVID, bringing challenges left and right. But what you had there is you had a lot of big, I would say, commercial tycoons who had a lot of money, who started seeing football also as a business. So I mean, it used to be traditionally just cricket. All the money went to cricket. Then you went into the ISL, the Indian Super League. But you had a huge gap between that league, which was like a couple of months tournament, and the rest of the football system. There was a huge gap, and we had recognized that was a real issue, and that you actually have to develop football at the state level, at the municipal level even. And I mean, India is a huge country; it has a continent of its own. So I think one of the things that we did that had the most impact was that instead of just giving the funds to the federation, the FIFA development funds to the federation, and let them, just carry on as usual, try to instill a bit of a cultural change. And what we did, say, look, we developed what you call the state development program, where we created a bit of a competition that we needed a business plan from the different states. And based on the top 6 or 7 business plans, they will make it into that program. And what that program means, we then finance per state at state level a marketing guy, a technical director, and a manager who helps to then organize the game at the state level. So our funding was financing those 3 positions, which didn't exist before. And we help with the tender, we help with the recruitment. I myself went to Guwahati in the northeast of India to recruit the marketing guy, because it was so important to get the right person. It wasn't necessarily somebody who knew the sport very, but somebody who had connections to the market and could get, as I mentioned earlier, some of the funding in. That project was fantastic because it started creating a structure. It was small, it was seed funding, but and I remember even the general secretary of the All India Football Federation said that this was probably the best project he had ever seen, because we went down into and started doing instilling structural change in the way football was being run in a particular country. And that was just one example, right? But I think
Yeah.
that's so. I think it is about building structures, and you don't need that much, but you need professionalism. You need dedicated people, because I mean, maybe I could be an equipment guy, but if I love to do this and I get a basic sort of training and understand, and that makes me qualified.
Yeah.
And it's basically the same thing with anything. I mean, you get the basic training, but then the rest, it's up to you and your motivation and how you do it. And I mean, the person in charge of the equipment in Bayern Munich, I'll tell you, he does that job with his heart. That's his job, to make sure that the jerseys are there crisp before every game.
No, yeah, you're right. I saw
You
a
know what I mean?
special. I saw a special on Dortmund.
Mm.
And I saw it on Amazon Prime. A really good special on Dortmund. And the guy they interviewed that actually worked the equipment, he talked about his prior job. He said he used to work, I think, was in the coal mines or something.
Uh-huh.
But this guy, he was dedicated. He had a relationship with the players. He knew exactly which player needed what. If this player, after a couple of games, he would need new shoes. This player here doesn't like his jersey feeling like this. He knew everything. It was amazing. Just one guy. It was one guy. So you're absolutely right. I think it does make a difference. If you think about it from the sense, if a coach has to worry about all these things, then what time is he going to have to create tactics or
Right.
play?
And those positions they don't cost a lot of money, but
Yeah.
it's a job, and you give I mean, Khaled, you know it. I mean, you're working for a professional club. There's so many people that you don't see as a football fan who are behind the organization. Boba, you know it yourself. I mean, it's the same in American football too.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
no, absolutely, you're right. And the funniest thing is this, and I'm glad you're saying these things because a lot of people from the African continent are going to watch what we have here. Hopefully, you don't make some. It's so
well,
good.
you have to be honest. You have to be serious. I mean,
No,
otherwise,
no, but you're right. Though. You're absolutely right. I mean, I've seen it. Which is why I'm laughing. I've definitely seen it in a lot of different levels. So that's why I'm laughing. But